Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're checking out the 2008 release here of the Master Grade Sinanju Ver.Ka. This is another one that I've had in my backlog for a long time. I've built this kit before, I think probably in a couple of different variations, but I'm building this one up again as a part of what I'm going to be working on for this year's GBWC entry that I plan on working on. So it's a good excuse for me to take it out of my backlog, finally get it built up, and put it to some good use here. So as you can see, this is another one that has the red label, so it's one that I've, like I said, been holding on to for quite a while. And I think one of the reasons is that I remember once the OVA version of the Sinanju came out, I was worried that Bandai was going to stop printing this kit. So that's why I held on to it. Of course, Bandai has not stopped printing this kit. They do still print it from time to time, but I would say definitely the OVA version is the better version to get. That said, there are kind of some pros and cons, I guess, but we'll get into that, talking everything about this kit in today's video, starting off with an unboxing, and then we'll get into the review. Let's do it. All right, guys, starting off here, taking a look at the box. This is another one where I just absolutely love the box art here on this one. It's a little bit different than the Unicorn in that you don't have the kind of like shadow image in the background. With the Unicorn, you have the destroy mode on the front, and then the Unicorn mode you can kind of see in the background. This one, I like the simplicity of this in that it's just the Sinanju. You don't have any sort of anything in the background. You can just focus on this beautiful illustration work here, image of the Sinanju with all its markings and everything on there. It looks super cool. I've always loved this box art here of the Sinanju Ver.Ka. It's probably one of my favorite box arts in all of Gundam anything. We got the same art here on the ends, but a close-up there on the chest and head of the Sinanju. And interestingly, around here on the backside, like we saw with my old Unicorn Ver.Ka, this one also has a bunch of artwork, I want to say, here on the back. It's text and illustrations and everything here, with some focus on other Ver.Ka releases at the bottom, other Neo Zeon designs from the series right here at the center, and kind of the evolution of some of these different suits, like the Sasbi, the Nu, the Hainu, the Unicorn you can see up there at the top, a little bit up there about some of the pilots through the years, Haman, Char, and a full frontal here, of course. So really cool to have this stuff printed on the back side of the box, or I guess what is the bottom side of the underbox. But here on this side, we've got some stats about information about like the armaments and everything. There's all of our armaments. Here's what the kit is going to look like, built up front and back, built, painted, and decaled, looking very awesome. And then a bunch of detail images here. Over on the other side, a little bit about the Sinanju Master Grade Ver.Ka in text form, and about the Unicorn series manga there. List price for this one at 7,000 yen. All right, let's get it opened up here. And we got some interesting stuff here on the inside. We'll take a look at the instruction manual and stickers and everything here in just a moment. Here's also a little bit about the PC game here, I guess, Gundam Chronicle Battle Line. This is something about the 20th anniversary of Gundam at the time. So again, just a reminder as to how long I've been having this kit here on the back. DVD and Blu-ray sale of Gundam Igloo there, it looks like. It's more cool stuff, taking a look back at like what was packaged in this kit all the way back in 2009. But let's check out the instruction manual here, where once again we've got a photo of the built and painted kit here, kind of in the front, and then on the back just some more titling. On the inside here, a beautiful full color illustration of the Sinanju front and back, a whole bunch of images, detail images of the design. We can fold out this page here. There's more detail images of the built and painted kit there, the weaponry. Down here at the bottom, images of the development of the kit, a whole bunch of really nice images there, a little full frontal, some more text, kind of interview section there about the development of the kit. And with that, I think our next page is going to be the parts list. Yep, and then the construction. So just moving along through the main chunk of the manual, which is all of our construction here. At the back side is going to be our decal guide and a color guide. The color guide is right up there at the top. Decals, obviously there's going to be a lot of them. Unfortunately, with this one though, just like with the Unicorn Ver.Ka, this one also does not include any water slides, even though that's what it looks like here in the image. It's once again just going to be some dry transfer decals. So here's a look at those, and there is a lot of them. It's a gigantic sheet of dry transfer decals. I have to say this is probably the largest one that I've ever seen in any release. Definitely one that you're going to want to pick up the water slide decal sheet for, I don't know, unless you really want to torture yourself with all those dry transfers. But speaking of torture, we of course have all of the gold markings, which actually there is water slide decals in here. I totally forgot about this. We do have water slide decals for all the gold linings, but unfortunately not for the markings. I would have much rather had water slides for these, but we've got water slide decals for all of the gold lining, alternatively foil stickers. So you can take your pick. These are obviously going to be a lot easier to apply These are going to look a little bit better, but it's nice to have that option here, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, this kit does not have a color separation between those parts, so either you have to rely on stickers, decals, like hand painting, or I think probably the most ideal way would probably be reverse wash painting of those raised decals for all of the sleeves parts, but oof, just look at how shiny those stickers are. One other little bit that we do have in here is some springs, which we're going to use for the tubing sections, I believe mostly just for around the waist section of the mobile suit. But from there we can go ahead and check out the runners. This is runner A, all in black here, just like with the Unicorn Ver.Ka. This one does not have any polycaps, so we're just straight on to the runners. Runner B is going to be all of our yellow-orange little accent bits there for around on the design. And runner C is going to be some clear green parts there for the cockpit and a couple of camera bits. And runners D, E, F, and G are going to be all of our red armor pieces. So here's runner D, for example, with some of those big skirting armor pieces on there. Here's runner E with some parts for the legs, the shield. Runner F we have two of. It's a lot of red armor parts there for the arms. It looks like backpack. And runner G we've got two of as well. Some more red armor pieces there for, looks like mostly on the legs. Runner H here is in a kind of medium gray. We've got two of these, mostly for the thruster bells and then for some of the piping bits. Runner I we also have two of, is for our fuel tanks and white parts there for the backpack. Runner J is some more medium gray parts here for, looks like mostly the rifle. And then runners K, L, M, and N are all in a kind of lighter gray, kind of unusual frame color nowadays, but this is all of the parts for our inner frame here, obviously, and just like with the Unicorn Ver.Ka, these are all unfortunately in ABS plastic. Now with the OVA version, if I remember correctly, these all did switch over to PS plastic. It's one of the reasons why the OVA version is kind of the better version to get of the Sinanju Ver.Ka, or of the Master Grade Sinanju, I should say. It's runner M, we've got two of those, and runner N, we've got two of these as well. But it is a very nicely detailed inner frame, I will say. Last thing here then is just going to be runner O, which we also have two of, is our beam effect parts in clear yellow, which are very nice looking. I do like those quite a bit. That's it for all the runners. Let's go ahead and get it put together. All right, and here is the kit all built up. A couple things right off the bat. Number one, this is such a beautiful kit. I love how this kit looks. It's so amazing. The design, the proportions of it, it looks fantastic. That said, it's also very, very creaky. If you guys didn't see the live stream of this, where I didn't even finish the whole build in the live stream because it took a while. But yeah, the frame on this is just very tight, very creaky. Like I said, I don't know another better way to describe it, but you guys will see here in just a moment once we actually start taking a closer look at everything. But yeah, that ABS frame just really, really not ideal, I would say. Definitely going to advise you guys to check out the OVA version, probably over the Ver.Ka, but we'll get into it here. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. Our first accessory here is going to be the beam rifle. I absolutely love the Sinanju's beam rifle in its many different forms. This is going to be the most basic form before we add anything to it. We can add the grenade launcher and then subsequently add the bazooka on it. Fortunately, this kit does not come with a bazooka, so we can't with this version. The OVA version and the Sinanju Stein do come with a bazooka, so if you have either of those kits, you can add them onto here. And we do have a couple of clear parts here for the scope, camera lens here, and this kind of secondary part which folds out to the side. They're like that as well. I've just left those off for the time being. As you can see, we have peg holes here in the handle for plugging into the hand, and this front part does open up for when you are mounting the grenade launcher onto here. You're gonna open that up, and we'll show you that in just a second. But yeah, love the design here of the beam rifle. This can also be attached under the mount latch here on the back of the waist section, which, just like everything else about this ABS frame, is very tight, but it's just going to open up like that, and you can store your beam rifle there. And interestingly, the manual says to remove the scope just because it kind of gets in the way if you're going to want to store this here on the back skirt. But there we go, it does clip into place there like that for storage, which is nice. And then our other main accessory here is going to be the shield. And now this one also has a lot of gimmicks built in. In particular, this has the grenade launcher there on the bottom, but you can remove that and store that, attach it onto the beam rifle instead if you want. So we'll set that aside for the moment. We also have our beam axis here and a couple of different ways that you can mount this. So this can mount onto the back of the forearm like usual. Then it also has this little hook right here. If we fold that part up and then go here in the shoulder armor, there's this little bit that drops down like that, and you can kind of hook the shield onto here. Now, I've never been a fan of this particular gimmick, but if for some reason you wanted to have the shield hanging there off the side of the shoulder armor, you can do that as well. But yeah, our beam axes are here, and you can take those out and use them in hand, but you can also use them here. You just swing them around, rotate them around, and you can see there's a little kind of peg here that they'll secure onto, and then they're both facing down like this, which from the front, I mean, that's one thing that I like about the beam axes on the back of the shield, is that whether you have them pointed up or down, they just kind of also help to enhance the look of the shield, I think, because they're like just kind of barely sticking out here or just sticking out at the top. From there, we can add our effect parts onto here. Now we have two different type of effect parts for the beam axe. One will be short like that, and we have two of those, and then two of this longer type as well. So kind of depending on whichever one you want to go for, again, whether you wanted the shorter type or the longer type, it makes for a pretty cool weapon, and it's very long. And the problem is now that it's taking a shield which is already kind of heavy and doesn't really attach onto the arm all that well, and now making it even heavier, and we're probably going to start running into weight issues. That's kind of one of the problem points of this shield, unfortunately. As cool as the design is, with this kit, we're probably going to have some weight issues, but we'll see. Just because of that ABS frame, as much as I don't like it, it does make it really, really stiff, so that might actually help to keep the shield held up. But getting back to our grenade launcher here, which is pretty cool, can attach onto the bottom of the rifle and then add this scope back onto the top. We get the superior version of the beam rifle now with the grenade launcher attachment on the bottom. I think it takes a really cool beam rifle design and makes it look even that much better. And it's going to look even better with the bazooka on there attached, but again, we're not going to cover that in this video. And that does also give you weight issues. So again, an issue for not this video, but love that design. Last couple things here. Our two beam saber effect parts here in clear yellow. Now I love these just because of the fact that rather than just our standard beam saber effect parts, we get these more kind of jagged design ones. So it's always great to see beam effect parts that are made specifically for this kit. And obviously these have been reused for other different versions, but the beam saber handles are going to be stored here in the forearm, which are going to open up like that. And using the beam effect part to remove the handle is actually a kind of good little trick for getting that out of there. And these are just going to plug into the hand as normal. You can see we have a slot there for plugging this onto the peg in the hand. That said, you can just leave it in the forearm too and just use it as a beam tonfa. So kind of cool that both the Sinanju and the Unicorn can both use a forearm, back of the forearm mounted beam tonfa weapon there. It's pretty interesting. Those beam axes also, by the way, can just be removed and handheld. You're just going to extend the axe blade up there like that. And then you can also, after you've done that to both, you can connect them together to make a double-ended beam axe weapon, which is pretty cool. So we've just got a lot of weapon gimmicks here with an already awesome kit. Other than that, we've got our little 1/100 scale full frontal standing figure there, and then a action base adapter. And that's it for all of our accessories. As for the kit itself, as you can see here, without the gold lining, these black parts do look a little bit kind of plain. You can still make out the design on there, but the gold lining is definitely going to help. So whether you want to use the waterside decals or the stickers, I would definitely recommend adding those on. But you get some really nice color separation here with the gray and yellow parts kind of poking out between the red armor here and there. Just makes for a really cool design. Just the whole armor design on this is really cool. A couple of points of articulation to mention about here. These parts on the side of the leg can be separated out a little bit, so you can kind of change the position of those if you wanted to have them a little bit further pointed forward or back. Also interesting to note that similar to a 2.0 Master Grade Zaku, when you turn the head, the mono eye turns, and it's going to be kind of hard to see. Hopefully you guys can see that, but you get a slight turn of the mono eye left and right when you turn the head left and right, which is pretty cool. We have standard double joints in the elbows and knees to give you some nice bends in both. We don't have any sort of issue with the knee bend like we did with the Master Grade Unicorn, fortunately, and you get some really nice separation of these armor pieces here at the knee as well, so really cool look there. You'll also notice though, unfortunately, we do also have a seam line here on the thigh armor, although I've seen a lot of professionally built models of this where they leave that as basically just a panel line, so it's just kind of up to you, I guess, whether you want to get rid of that or not. Same thing here with this part at the upper arm, there's also a seam line there. And then at the backpack, a pretty cool gimmick that when you open these up, it extends out the middle part back. So you can see that those kind of work together like that, which is a cool little gimmick there for the backpack. All right, so getting into some poses here. Yeah, I mentioned at the start of the review portion that it's very, very creaky, and Honestly, as I'm getting into trying out some different poses here, as you guys can see, I think it poses really well. And honestly, the creakiness did sort of subside as I moved the kit around and did a few poses and just kind of broke it in a little bit. Basically, it was just that fresh attachment that was making it like that, very, very stiff. But so far, that stiffness is holding up, and as long as I'm moving everything very carefully and deliberately, it's not going to be a problem. I did say also, I'll mention if you guys saw it in the live stream, I actually filed some of the pegs. So like some of the connections, especially that notorious waist connection in there that a lot of people suffered a break in that part. I wanted to be very careful with that, so I filed that peg. And basically the connection pegs of the arms into the torso, the legs into the hips. So some of like those big, very weight-bearing connection pegs that were super, super duper tight to plug in. I sanded those down a little bit, and that made them fit a lot nicer. They're still plenty tight enough. I mean, over time, if I'm playing around with the kit and doing tons of different poses and mess with it too much, I'm sure it'll loosen up over time, no doubt. But sanding it enough was good to just help it to not be super duper tight, because then you're going to be running the risk of breaking something whilst still being tight enough to hold a pose. And as you can see, it actually holds up the poses really well. I was worried about the weight issues, especially with the shield and the beam effects added onto there, and it actually is able to hold it up pretty well. And that's basically just because of how tight and how stiff the frame is on this. So, I mean, you have to be careful with it, but it actually does help with the stability of it. Honestly, I was having more stability issues with the action base than the kit itself, just because the kit is pretty heavy, and especially with those effect parts on there, it's going to make it kind of want to lean to one side because you got more weight over to one side. So you have to make sure that you have it supported or on an action base in a way that is not going to be kind of like leaning over. So, of course, the other option would be just to not have it on an action base at all, and despite having those big thruster pods and fuel tanks there on the backpack, it is a little bit back heavy, but it's actually able to stand up and do a number of different poses just in standing without the use of an action base at all. So that's nice too. So you do have plenty of good options for this. Honestly, just like we found out just recently reviewing the Unicorn Master Grade Ver.Ka, this one as well, I mean, I think despite its age, holds up really well. But again, just like with the Unicorn, I think I would probably recommend you guys to go for the OVA version for a number of different reasons. The couple of main reasons being the fact that it includes the bazooka, which is awesome, and the fact that that waist connection peg is redesigned. I think they kind of changed that peg a little bit, and also that the frame is not ABS but polystyrene plastic, so generally the kit is going to be a little bit lighter, and you have that better plastic, especially if you're planning on painting the kit. So a couple of good reasons to go for the OVA version there for sure. If this kit would have included water slides, I would have said that's a big advantage of this particular version, but just because of the fact that it only has water slides just for the lining parts, that's unfortunate. And so there's not necessarily too much really advantage to getting the Ver.Ka over the OVA version, other than maybe just the box and the instruction manual. I mean, it's got really fantastic box art, and the instruction manual has all that juicy Kotoki artwork and everything in there, which is awesome. But as far as that kit actually goes, I think the OVA version is just going to be the way to go with this one. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. I think the kit holds up really well. It looks fantastic. It's such a good looking design here in Master Grade form, in every form really, to be honest. It's such a great design mobile suit, so I'm definitely a fan and looking forward to working on this kit some more. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys want to check out some more Gunpla, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam store. We got all sorts of Gunpla there, tools, paints, and supplies. And thank you guys so much for all of your support, whether it be liking the video, commenting, or making sure that you're subscribed to the channel. It all is very appreciated. So thank you guys so much. Till next time, hope you all have a great day. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.